Okay, I'm just going to mention a few things about my Asian trip. I went to China first, the southwestern area near Laos and Thailand. They've slashed, they've clear-cut everything. So all of those remote areas have all been clear-cut, and they're planting rubber trees everywhere. The food is still incredible there, though. The tribes are still, they don't all dress in their garb like they do in Thailand. They're not in their native garb, but their food, they have all heirloom food, so it tastes so delicious. Heirloom corn, everything they have is heirloom, so it's none of this hybrid stuff. In Laos, I was very disappointed with Laos because they advertise it as a green country and it's supposed to be very primitive. And I went to Vientiane, Luang Prabang, Odom Sai, and Luang Nam Ta. And two of those, Odom Sai and Luang Nam Ta, are supposed to be green states. They're about the size of probably Arizona, each state. And when I went, there was no airport, so I had to take buses. And when I was going through both Odom Sai, but mainly Luang Nam Ta, 85. Now this is the one. If you go online and you go anywhere, they advertise that as the eco state of Laos, and it's 85% clear cut and only rubber trees planted, ecologically imbalanced. And they say they're preserving all the Indian tribes. They have the highest number of Indian tribes, like 60 Indian tribes in that state, and they can't even function. And along the roadsides on the buses, they have the dirtiest fuel I've ever experienced in the world. It is so dirty that it tarnished all the vegetation for 200 yards on either side of the roadway. Okay. And we're talking about a mountainous region. And it's that it just yellowed it all the way 200 yards out. I'm talking 2 football fields away. Most of your Indian tribes live on the roadways. So they're being poisoned to death. Same thing the American government did to the American Indian, just wiping them out. And they advertise as ecologically preserving the natives' natural way and everything. It's disgusting. And one time I took a hike. I hired a driver and a guide and a translator to go way back into the highest out-of-the-way hill tribes, only 10 miles away from China. And I get up there, they're dressed like I am in jeans and, not in their native garb at all. And I walk up there, and all these little boys from about the age of 6 to about the age of 11 are saying to me, boom, boom for food, boom, boom for food. It means they want to have sex for food. They're not preserving these Indians at all, and they sold all the little girls. So there were only 2 girls in that whole tribe, all the little boys. They were being sold for sex. So it was shocking. It was disgusting, and it was all of this stuff you read in the propaganda. I just don't know how these people can do that, but they do it. They have no conscience. Government people, they're into it for the clear cutting now, for the, all the rubber tree stuff that they can sell to China and to other countries. So they don't care about the natives at all. And even though you hear stuff about it, so just wanted to let you know that's going on. They slash and burn everything, so they don't mulch. They're into that. The farmers, they can't make any money anymore because the American system has gone in and lowered the prices. You know, big companies buy all of the grain, the rice from the small farmers, and then don't give them a very much money, and then they make all the big money, the middleman, the salesperson. So it puts the little farmer out. So the little farmer, instead of having 2 growing seasons, they have 3 growing seasons just to make ends meet. So instead of cutting the remainder of the rice stalks, they will cut them and burn them rather than mulching them in. Because if they have to wait for them to mulch in, then they lose a whole growing season. And then every field is slash and burn. I mean, it's like the sky is gray and brown every day. I had a lung infection the entire time that I was there, just trying to keep it out. On the roadway, when I was on the buses, I realized how bad it was because I was spitting up green and yellow phlegm within a few hours on the bus. So when we made the next stop, and there happened to be a pharmacy in this particular town, it's pretty primitive in Laos, in Luang Nam Ta. So to find a pharmacy outside of a big town is impossible. But so their big towns are like 2,000 people. Those are big cities, huge cities. So I got a surgeon's cotton mask and I wore that. 2 hours in the bus, I got to the other end, it was black.
Wow.
That is how bad the fuel is. They mean to kill these people and use up all the resources. So, pretty bad. So, while I was there, I also learned this time even though I didn't have milk, I was going to find a different way to see if I could adjust to no water. So I would, anytime now when I eat or drink, instead of guzzling, I put my lips together and act like an infant who hasn't learned to suckle yet. So I force just a little bit of fluid into my mouth at a time, maybe a tablespoon with a sucker, or maybe a half a tablespoon. And with that action, I don't get thirsty. And I used to guzzle my milk, and I'd have to drink. And when I was in Thailand, not able to get much milk, at least frequently, I would resort to drinking, like 2 cups of water a day. And here, I don't drink water, because I have the milk. But I found that I drink less milk. I'm very, cut, but still hold all my fat. And I'm not thirsty and I'm not dry mouth. Just by controlling, even guzzling milk or any other fluid of my vegetable juice. I drink everything slowly now. So I can stay trimmer. I don't have to carry as much fluid weight. Okay, question. Answer. Start with you.
Question and answers then?
Questions and answers, yes.
Pass. Can you come back to me?
Uh-huh.
Meningitis. When
Yes.
I started with you 5 years ago, I was super stiff. And I've gone through parts where my joints start to break with attacks of scar tissue. And I had the meningitis, which I have a feeling is fired brought back out again with me. Most people in the diet don't know that the meningitis is not something you actually want to get rid of. It's actually good. It helps clear out the heavy metals, probably from vaccinations and stuff. Lisa, on the way in, was telling me how sick she was. She was going through all sorts of tremors, which is like what I had. Any comment on what other things could help when you're going through such a heavy detox, for instance, like spinal meningitis, whether it's viral or bacterial?
Well, when you have meningitis, it's a detoxification of the spinal cord or the brain. If it's spinal meningitis, of course, it's the spine. If it's cerebral meningitis, it's of the brain. because of the brain utilizes most of the metallic minerals in the body to convey light and electricity and conduct electricity. The concentration of metallic minerals in the brain and nervous system is extraordinary. So when you go through a detox of the brain and spinal cord, it is usually debilitating to the point where most people don't get out of bed. I've had spinal meningitis 4 times since I had that radiation therapy that cauterized my spine. So when I went through meningitis, I was in so much pain, I couldn't lift the legs. I had to be cared for. And plus, the mind goes everywhere, and it's not consistent, it's pretty crazy. And there's violent spells, there's all kinds of things that goes on. Because everything's misfiring. The synapse, the ganglion, the axons are all misfiring. And memory retention's bad. I've only known 2 people who've been active on their feet, and that's Lisa and Scott, during meningitis. I've never known any other people to not be completely incapacitated with meningitis.
We go through some really wacky things mentally.
Yeah, well, when you've got that much metal going on. And aluminum's a great part of that toxicity. And aluminum destroys the zeta potential. And the zeta potential is the ability for nutrients to remain suspended in fluid. So it's like if you took liquid mercury and poured it into a fish tank, the fish would hit bottom. They could no longer stay suspended in the water. They can't swim. So the same thing happens in our brain and nervous system. All of a sudden everything hits bottom in the brain, so it doesn't function properly. And you have to expect that if you go through that kind of a detoxification, and you might warn the people around you, especially if you've got loved ones, you're not going to be rational, you're not going to be coherent, and you're not going to be nice all the time. As far as what to do about it, it depends upon the individual, how they're handling the detoxification. Most people I tell, do very little, save your energy and your nutrients for the detoxification. Because if you use an activity, then there could be, scarring in the brain or nervous system. So you have less functionality. It's best also not to tax the body in digestion. You might not want to have whole milkshakes. Just milk and eggs separately, honey separately. Take everything separately, even though it's not as tasty as enjoyable. Also, you'll be dumping so many heavy metals and free radicals. Most people label heavy metals free radicals. A free radical is an agent that doesn't have its proper bond to make it a beneficial substance. So, like, you could have potassium, calcium, phosphorus, and magnesium as your main bonds to any kind of heavy metal that has a purpose in the body to conduct electricity or transfer light, and there's a small amount of that within those bonds. When you cook food, you fractionate that, and you never know how those ions are going to group together, and they always mismatch in poor relationships and poor quantities and concentrations. So that's why a lot of people who are on poor diets are not as rational as logical. And I can prove how logical and sensible people are on this diet if I look at the children who are on this diet. I just had one 19 years old graduate from Yale. He was on the diet since he was 1 year old, and he only does 70% of the diet. And then one 5-year-old who's 99.9% on the diet. He gets a cake at used to at preschool, but he just entered the 4th grade and he's 5 years old. So all the children all the children on this diet are exceptional because everything is in proper balance. The brain and nervous system work properly. So when you go through a detoxification of your spine and brain, you're not going to be functioning properly. You're going to be functioning the least balanced. Don't expect to be rational. Don't beat yourself up. Just try to isolate yourself so you don't hurt anybody, emotionally and.
How long does it take for one?
Well, one woman, I convinced her, she was very, very skinny and about 46 years old. Always claimed she was 38. What actor was that? Jack Benny or what? Always says he was 36.
39.
39. Always says he was 39. She was like that thing.
39.
Yeah. So she was very, very skinny, and she was so afraid. An MD. She's, in show business. She's a writer, director, and composer. And her husband was also a very famous. Her ex-husband was a famous casting director, so very connected. So, when do you know an MD ever does a house call? So she got a house call from a very famous MD, and he said, you've got at least pneumonia and probably meningitis, and you're going to die if you don't get in the hospital within 24 hours. So, this is after 10 days of going through this already. And everybody's just freaking out around her. So she called me, and I calmed her down. It took about 45 minutes because they really scared her. So the MD did, and her friends. So, and her ex-husband, and her son, 15-year-old son at the time. So I convinced her to have 2 to 3 moisturizing lubrication formulas a day. Plus lots of fish and chicken. So she gained about 70 to 80 pounds. I don't remember what it was. She went up 6 dress sizes, clothing sizes. So, and I had been trying to get her to get fat for, a few years. So here was my chance, and I took it. So, but, because I didn't know how long she was going to go through this, because this kind of spinal meningitis and cerebral meningitis, that can go on for up to a year, sometimes a year and a few months, depending upon how toxic somebody is, how much heavy metals they have in their brain and nervous system. So I wanted her to get into it as quickly as possible. So, when she finished, she was very skinny, and when she finished, she was this big, looked like a Jewish pear, so it really looked like it, but she just cried and cried, once she got better and just looked at her body, cried and cried. How am I going to ever take this off? Am I ever going to take this off? Am I going to look like this the rest of my life? It took a year to remove it, only a year, a year and a few months to remove it. That's all it took. But she got to the spinal meningitis and meningitis in about 3 months. She wasn't restricted to a bed after about 6-7 weeks. Other people, they'll go a very long time if they don't get real fat and have the fat to be able to dump that stuff quicker. You can't eat enough fat. The blood fat will not protect you very much when that stuff is coming into the tissues, and the body doesn't want to dump it into the blood because it's going to do some damage to your bloodstream. So you have to have exterior fat. Again, I say, Aajonus, you're skinny. I am not skinny. I just have these very small fat molecules. I've been built on raw fat molecules since February of '72. I started eating raw foods before that, but I committed to all raw foods in February of '72. So all the fat molecules are very small in my body. When you cook a fat, they're 10 to 50 times, sometimes even larger. Take, what do they call that, fat back? You take pig fat and you boil it in oil, and all of a sudden stuff comes up crispy and big, and it started off as a little bitty fat molecule. It swells up like that. It swells with air and fluid, depending on what you cook it. That'll be, let's say you cooked it in water, it would be smaller. Cook it in oil, it's going to get huge. So, fat doesn't have to be huge. Most of the women who are on the diet, by the time they're 12 years on the diet, they're always slender even though they're fat. Men, it's usually 8 years for the average person, but they're about 20%. It may take 12 to 15 years. If any woman's had cesarean, then of course it goes much longer. Takes longer. And if you've had over 2 children, it's just like cesarean. It'll take longer to get your slim fat and to maintain that. Cellulite takes about that same amount of time to dissolve. But if you pretty much stay on the diet, you'll never have cellulite again. Cellulite is toxic hardened fat that's combined with some kind of toxin in your body, and it's dried out. Animal fat will never dry out at human body temperature. That's always vegetable oil like margarine, stuff like that, that crystallizes in the human body and hardens in the human body. So that's when you see those little round bubbles and bumps all through your skin underneath there. That's the kind of cellulite that does not come from animal fat. It's hardened fat, and that's hard to dissolve. You have to get into the lymphatic baths to dissolve that. 2 a week. And I've learned since I wrote the book that having a lot of people do it now, about 20% of the people, when they're taking the lymphatic baths on everybody, what happens is it causes the lymphatic toxicity to melt and discharge its toxicity into the connective tissue to be perspired out of the body. So, in the book I said, make sure it's every 3 days, every 3 to 4 days, so you have time to dump. Some people do not dump it out of their connective tissue, so that will lead to MS or lupus. So I'm saying now, take a 35 to 40 minute bath a day on the days where you're not doing the hour to an hour and a half lymphatic bath, to make sure you get it out of the connective tissue.
Say that again?
30 to 35 minute bath daily.
Yeah, that's what you made me do when I got so sick after the fire. I was doing it every day.
Can you describe the bath a little more?
Pardon?
The bath?
Well, I described them in the book.
Okay.
So look under lymphatic baths, and We Want to Live. I tell you how to do them. Yeah, what I say in there is to put milk, vinegar, and some sea salt and clay if you want in the bath. Same difference. Yeah. Pardon? Yeah, well, you've got those stuff to put in there. It's going to handle that fluoride. Why did you think that? Now, you got enough milk fat, and, the sea salt will dissolve those, will bind with those fluoride. And the milk, calcium and magnesium and phosphorus and sulfur will bind with it too. So it won't be absorbed into your skin. The molecules will be a bit too large. Yes? The long bath is the lymphatic bath. That's an hour to an hour and a half.
And then you're saying you have to have the 30-minute bath because you don't want to get MS or...
That's for people who are not discharging it from their skin, through their skin. Well, I can tell. If you start swelling, your skin starts filling up with more and more water, and you're getting puffy in the next few days.
Yeah, or you have lesions coming out of your body.
Yep.
I have all sorts of red things coming out all over my body since the fire.
If I sit my desk, it's actually warm sometimes. I'll come out and my eyelids will start getting really swollen.
Yeah.
Is that?
Well, that could be just discharging
I mean,
it.
well,
If
but
you
I mean,
don't,
it's
if that swelling doesn't dissipate by the time you're next time to take the long hot bath, then you're not discharging it quickly enough out of your skin, out of your connective tissue. And you need those shorter baths.
And when you do shorter one, you still have to put everything in the water.
You still have to put everything in the water, or you have good filters. You have a 3-filter tier system in your apartment and in your house. So you don't have to use so much good ingredients. You know, if you have those filters there, you use a half a cup of milk, you know, and a couple of tablespoons of sea salt, and a couple of tablespoons of vinegar rather than a whole cup to a cup and a half.
And you're still doing the pineapple drink?
No, that's only for the long bath.
And what if you use the jacuzzi and you have it at 104 with that?
104 is great. Yeah.
So you can do that for the long
Yeah.
bath?
Yes. Well,
What would
it
you
should
put
be
in
high, if you keep it at 102. That's as high as it has to go.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. There was a misprint. I don't know how it got. It said 110 in the first right of We Want to Live. I said 110. People are cooking. You know, so you got to cook the enzymes out of your skin. So I don't know how that happened.
What would you put in the jacuzzi? Can you put vinegar, salt?
Yeah.
You want to put the milk because that's going to clog up the filter.
No, it won't clog. I use coconut cream in mine.
It doesn't clog up your filter?
No, I have a sand filter.
Oh, well, but a regular filter. And what about the fluoride? Because there's supposedly by 2010, all systems are supposed to be fluoridated.
Well, the U.S. government, military has to get rid of their fluoride waste.
Yeah.
And they want to poison and weaken the people, get them all slaves. It has to be that cynical.
Concentration camp.
Yeah. Okay, do you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a question?
What Scott was saying about these fires, I mean, boy, that's really just devastating.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you're getting a lot of phone calls about it. Is the remedy the same for everybody, or are you dispensing different things for different people? I mean, all of us are affected, and everybody's denying, oh, I got a cold, or this and that, but it's the fire.
Well, the fires are causing the detoxifications. The asthma, the allergies, the colds, the flus. If it were just, you know, these carbon structures that we're burning, it wouldn't be so bad because your body can take that down, you know, with a few colds. But because of all the building materials that have plastic and asbestos and all those toxic substances were in the fumes, in the smoke, you know, everybody was poisoned, majorly poisoned.
Including the livestock.
Everything was
We
poisoned.
should not buy local.
Everything was poisoned.
My beef guys. You know, it's the cattle are right in the middle of that fire.
Yeah. Everybody got
And he
poisoned.
said, well, the animal detox and stuff. But,
Well, yeah, it's going to take them a while. They'll detox it. It'll take them a long time.
yeah, but we can't. We should not be eating the meat from it.
Well, you have to understand that's going to get it. If you're eating the glands and organs, you're going to have trouble.
No, just
The meat, it builds slowly.
So it's okay to buy his meat.
Yeah. The muscle meat.
Yeah.
It builds slowly. And the animal's body's going to throw as much as it can into the brain, nervous system, you know, any place where there's fat. Don't eat the bone marrow, don't eat the brain, don't eat the nervous system, don't eat the fatty glands.
No, I just buy the truck.
Okay, do you have questions? Wade?
Yeah. How come Japan has #1 health in the world in terms of industrial level? Japan has #1 health.
They don't, but it's pretty good. They eat a lot of raw beef and they eat a lot of raw fish. In fact, it's raw fish and beef is about, on the average, and the people that they're, it's the people who have the money to pay for that. The lackeys, the people who don't have much money, don't eat that kind of raw stuff as frequently. So they're not judging it from the all of Japan, all of Japan's people, just those people who go to doctors. So they're only judging that.
They have the highest stomach cancer rate in the world.
Yeah, but that's because Fuji and Kodak used to dump right into their waterways. In the 60s, you could take a undeveloped roll of film and stick it right into the bay, and it would develop. Yep. They were dumping right in, so it poisoned everybody's stomach. Of course, they cleaned it up since then, but all through the 60s it was that way. 40s and 50s and 60s. It wasn't until 72 where they started cleaning it. No, it's very, I mean, if you're pampering, if you're making a little princess of your cow, it doesn't have any exercise and you massage it all day long. Does everybody know what Kobe beef is? Kobe beef is an animal, a cow, that's held into a stall. It's got heat, air conditioning, and it's massaged almost 24 hours a day. It is very pampered. It's like, $125 a pound. So it's very, very tender because it never gets any exercise but standing. It stands while it's getting massaged. It's hand-fed. It's mostly fed grain, so it's very fatty, and it's extremely tender, but it's not strong, healthy meat. So, sure tastes good. It's easy to chew. It melts in your mouth. But, it's not healthy meat.
So wild meat to help.
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing. I don't eat much pork because it just isn't that appetizing to me. But when I got to China and Laos, they don't raise our domesticated pig. They raise wild boars. And I mean, I couldn't stop eating it. That's all I ate. For like a month, that's all I ate. And I would get big strips. The fat is incredible. You get strips like this, and it had a hard layer of fat that I couldn't eat. It would take a dog or a cat to eat it. And then it had a chewier fat, not real tender, but really delicious. I'd eat 2 of those in one sitting with a handful of the meat. 2-3 times a day. It was so delicious. Oh, great. Do you have a question, Joe? Okay. Do you have Lorraine? No, I usually buy one there because it's so much. If I'm going to stay in one hotel for a while, but when I'm traveling, I just use my teeth. Well, it's so warm there, I can put it all together and then shake it, because it's like 80 degrees, average 82 degrees, so everything melts there, so it's easy. No, I'll chew and expectorate. But there's a lot of places that make juice now, and mainly over there, I'll eat sugarcane juice, which is a vegetable juice. No, straight, fresh. I'll watch them juice it right there. They have these huge drums that crush. You run the big sugarcane stalks through there and it crushes it. And they do different things in different places. In Cambodia, they always put a lime and have a lime squeeze through with it. Because sugarcane juice is bitter. And it's not real sweet. the sugar is in the cellulose, and you have to boil the sugar cane to get the sugar out of it. So the sugar cane juice is like celery and cucumber.
When you chew a sugar cane, it's sweet. You know, when you go get it from the field and
yeah, but when you juice it, when the sugar is in the cellulose, so unless you're chewing the cellulose or you boil it, the sugar's not released.
How does that react in the body?
Well, the first time I thought, oh God, I'm going to have to see, what it does to me. So the first time I had 2 ounces, no reaction, no sugar reaction. Next time I had 4 ounces the next day, no sugar reaction. Next day I had 8 ounces, no sugar reaction. Next time I had 12 ounces, that's as high as I'll drink at one time, and within a 20-minute period, and no reaction.
And you combine it with coconut cream?
Yes, I do that.
In Florida, they juice it.
Pardon?
In Florida, parts of Florida, they juice it. They put the whole
Yeah.
stuff. Comes out sweet, though.
yeah, India as well has that.
Well, it depends on what sugar cane they're using.
Okay.
Yeah.
And theirs is like, it looks like dirty dishwater.
Yes.
But it's delicious.
Yeah, dirty
Very
dishwater.
mild, not real sweet, but it just has a
Yeah.
little.
Well,
light-
that sweetness is not, when it's that
Not
kind
real
of
sweet.
sweetness, it's a collection of minerals.
Yeah.
All of your alkalinizing minerals taste sweet.
Yeah. It's
It
not
isn't
like-
sugar. Do you have a question?
Yes, recently traveled in India and been away from the system, got really relaxed and detached, and now kind of wanted to keep in that place.
Good luck.
What might help with stress or staying relaxed?
Well, anything that that keeps the body balanced, and the diets that I put on page 40 and 41 of the recipe book, if you follow the eating schedules in there, they will always give you the most serenity, clarity, and energy at the same time. You'll always be balanced. People who will take the time to eat those 2 routines, depending on what their particular body type is. Body type, I mean, if you're diabetic or have a sugar problem, you want to eat 3 meat meals a day. If you're just average or normal sugar reactor, then just 2 meat meals a day. If you'll eat that plan where you have a juice, meat meal, milkshake, or some kind of dairy product with some cream in it, and then it could be kefir, it could be yogurt with some extra cream in it to relax the system. Then juice again, then your fruit meal for detoxification with some kind of fat, then a juice again, then your meat meal. If you're sugar type, then you'd have, after the second juice, you'd have another small meat meal, and then your fruit meal, and then the juice again, then your meat. And then, some milk before you go to bed, warm milk and honey and cream, and during the night the same. If you do that, you'll always stay very balanced. When you start doing your own thing, you won't be balanced. You just won't be balanced.
You're right, I was on that pretty much strictly coming back.
Yeah, and it works. Yeah.
It was nice.
And then when you start going off, everything else goes off out of balance. Because, it took me a lot of years of observing and focusing and experimenting to get a diet that can keep somebody clear and bright and focused and energetic all day long, the whole time of their life. When I do it, and I do it all the time, even when I'm in Thailand, don't get the dairy like I'd like to every year, but I still focus the meat. I'll eat 3 meat meals, usually a day there, but I'll eat very small amounts instead of a larger meat meal like I have here. I'll have 2 larger meat meals here, like a half a pound at a time. When I'm there, it may be, a third of a pound or even quarter of a pound at a time. So I eat it more often, but I keep rigid like that. I'm down to about 3.5 hours a day sleeping and clear and working the rest of the time. So, and sometimes I'll take a 10-minute, 20-minute nap in the day for my other, because I sleep about 3 hours and 10 minutes at night, and then take about a 20-minute nap in the day, sometimes only a 10-minute nap. And I can just go.
But sometimes if you're detoxing, you're going to need more.
No, you need sleep if you're detoxing, absolutely. Also, if you're in the healing state, you need a lot of sleep. But I've been doing this for how many years? 28 years. So 28 years on a good diet. I'm not so toxic as I was, even though I had chemotherapy and radiation and all those drugs for so many years when I was a child. I'm not that toxic. I still have 14 years to go to do my 40-year, prison sentence on the body toxicity, but I'm already doing quite well. Pardon?
Keep on the diet. No, I'm saying don't keep you at 100. You still look the same. We're around. But how long do you, if you stay on the diet, how long do you think, you're the longest one on the diet, so.
No, I'm not. There's the Maasai tribes, the Samburu, the Eskimo, so. Well, they don't eat, some of them don't eat fruit.
They don't juice it.
But basically, and they don't juice, they'll chew some vegetables and spit out the pulp like the gorillas do, and like other carnivores do. But, they live to a pretty old age. We should be living to about 147 years old. Since I had a vagotomy pyloroplasty, I don't know what that's done to my years, because it lowers my hydrochloric acid production. I don't digest as well as other people do, or as fully as other people do. So I don't know what that's going to do with my potential lifespan. Oh, that's a wonderful thing. Yeah, it gets the poisons out. Yeah. Do you have a question?
Not right now.
Okay. Do you have a question?
I've gotten a lot better from how I used to be. The only thing I still do the current side, football, liquids and things. But
You look a lot better than when I first
I'm
met
feeling,
you.
I'm not throwing up every day.
Oh,
I have
good.
diarrhea every day. I'm getting a lot better. But I've gotten this horrible pattern, and I think it has to do with my activity range and my adrenaline. I'll be on the diet, perfect, no cheating at all, and I can do it for about 3 weeks. When I hit 3 weeks, every day I'm more anxious. Remember, last time I came, I said I'm having problems like this rage, and I just feel that.
Then you have to stop eating red meat.
I barely put any in my chicken. You only let me have a half a cup at night.
Right.
I don't even do that every night.
Just eliminate it whenever you go through that. Completely eliminate it.
Is that
Red meat.
Why is that?
Red meat excites the adrenal glands and testosterone production.
Well,
Oh, a lot of fun stuff. That's why I keep telling you, call me.
I'm
I've
having
had
a
at least
horrible
5 years of it now. There's a lot of fun things to come.
But just like I'm not eating that much.
But your husband is the one I'm concerned about, because when your hormone levels go up, he has to be more helpful.
He's out of town. He's only about 27.
How much water do you drink?
I go through cycles with that too. Sometimes I'm maybe taking 2 sips a day. Some days, like if I do a hot bath or something, I might go through 1 or 2 to Pellegrino.
That's going to throw you off, because then you're not going to digest anything for about a week properly.
Oh, really?
Because you dilute your hydrochloric acid and dilute all of your digestive juices.
I think I'm real dry mouth, real thirsty in my throat, and I'm
Well,
not tomatoes.
just like I say, you start sipping the way I said, and it will change. For some reason, it changes. The exercise of the mouth, I think that it has to do like an infant. You know, there's some kind of fluid, there's some kind of fat that pulls down into the mouth. It's the only thing I can think of. I've never been able to keep 23% body fat and look like this. I've always had to have more water, fluid. Now I don't have to retain it anymore once I figured that out. Only took how many years to figure that little piece of information out. But it makes a huge difference.
Could you demonstrate?
Well, I'll show you. Okay, when I go to suck, no matter what it's out of, it'd probably be a good idea if you got one of those sport bottles that have a nipple on it you can push up and suck out of, you know.
Get a baby
Yeah.
bottle.
But what I do is I just put my lips together. That was only a teaspoon altogether. Half a teaspoon
Push
each
it out
time.
with your tongue.
And I force it to go through my lips. And it's very difficult to do when I have them pushed together hard. And I'm sucking and pushing my lips together at the same time. It is satisfying. You know, you see me before I'd gulp, you know, about a half a cup at a time. Now I take sips at a time.
Then you're not drinking.
But you don't need it. When you gulp water like that, you urinate a lot of it. Other animals don't urinate much, except the horse. You know, but they live around lakes and rivers and they drink a lot. But then some horses won't drink at all. You know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You know? So it depends upon the horse. But if a horse is drinking a lot of water, it'll be urinating a lot. But dogs and cats that are not domesticated, you know, like the coyotes, they come up to my house all the time. And I was doing an interview about vaccines for a documentary on Friday. And we're sitting in the backyard, and a coyote comes right up, because I feed them, so, I mean, they've never come up that close with other people around before. But, you know, I've got them so tame now. But I watch them piss, and it's like a tablespoon. Because they don't have anywhere to drink water unless they hop into my hot tub, you know, to do that, and they don't.
So I get out of my bath, and I try to do as hot as I can, and I'm just sweating and stuff, but I literally, if I don't drink any water, I'm almost like gagging, dry, eating and stuff, and I'm in bed. I can't.
Well, don't drink water. Drink the We Want to Live book. Look under the hydration drink.
But I thought because the Crohn's, I couldn't see those typically.
Oh, you can do those, but you know, you just sip it a little at a time.
Okay.
Water is going to make Crohn's worse than the juice
Oh,
is.
yeah. You put me on the cucumber drink.
Right.
And it helped a lot.
Yeah.
That's the one in the book? The cucumber drink?
Well, it's cucumber and tomatoes in the book. But if you use cucumber, you know, if you make a cucumber puree as the cucumber that's in your juice, the cucumber contains a lot of collagen precursors, so it holds on to water in your tissues better without having to have a lot of water. So, and it helps the skin look better and younger. And that's why my skin is looking so much younger, because I started using the cucumber puree rather than cucumber juice. It made a big difference in my skin and the way I hold and retain water.
I don't think I'm going to understand the difference. So I don't want to put it through the juice there? Or?
Correct. You put it. What you do is you juice the rest of your juice, or tomatoes, or if you're having the sport drink, the hydration formula.
Right.
You slice the cucumbers. You put it into a jar to blend. You put some of the juice in there, and then you blend it. So you've got pulp. That's what puree is.
Okay.
Pulp means you blended something, you haven't juiced it.
Okay.
So you have the pulp with it. But if you use any other cellulose, it will over-alkalinize the intestines. For some reason, the cucumber doesn't do that.
And the
Okay.
tomato doesn't do that?
No, tomato doesn't. It's highly acidic. Do you have a question, Craig?
Not too small. I think my mom has a question. A couple.
We were
Okay.
really concerned with the measles outbreak that hit the schools because our
The what?
The measles outbreak. Well, our schools were going to take my kids out. Well, one of them out for 3 weeks.
Measles isn't contagious.
I don't know.
None of that
But
stuff
anyway,
is
And they
contagious.
were saying that it was the non-vaccinated kids that were catching it. They were on life support and stuff. But they're going to take my son out of school for the 3
Yeah.
weeks until they can prove it was gone. So what do you tell them?
It's fine. Take your kid out of school for 3 weeks. Homeschool for 3
And if they
weeks.
get it, you just what's in the book? And
It's all part of detoxification. It's a natural way of cleaning out the body. Measles cleans out the connective tissue. You need it. You have to have it. A child's more likely to get some kind of a skin-connected disease or even a muscle disease from it. They don't have measles. But the pharmaceutical house wants you to be sick. As long as you're taking medication, they're making money. And the pharmaceutical companies run the medical profession. They write all the procedure manuals. So don't listen to anything they say about disease. Wait a minute, how many people would hear, if you want to become millionaires, how many people would go down, somebody else's flipped off? How many people would go down to the guy flipping hamburgers at McDonald's to find out how to be a millionaire? Or would you go to Donald Trump? When you want to learn about health, why would you go to a doctor who only knows disease and drugs? It doesn't make any sense. It is the most asinine thing you can think of. It's the most illogical thing you can think of to go to a doctor about health. It's ridiculous.
But that's the only choice we have if you're not around.
that's right. Oh,
No, it isn't. You just have to have faith in your body. You attended my workshop, right?
Yeah.
I told you how the body works. You just have to trust it.
I know, but we panic and
Yeah, but you don't have to panic. You got the PDF version of my book. You put in bleeding in there. You would have come up with a green cabbage juice.
right.
It would have taken you 10 minutes at the maximum.
It would have saved $9,000 for one day in the hospital.
Exactly.
And they'll damn near kill me.
Yeah, but see, you don't have to pay it since they caused you anaphylaxis.
Well, that's not true. I called them and they said that I didn't know what I was signing, and I signed off as saying that.
Doesn't matter. They can't do that. I've done it several times to them.
And they said
Yeah.
that they have to treat according to the standard treatment. And
No,
when I come in with
no,
200
they don't. No, when you tell them, it's like somebody goes in there and says, I'm allergic to penicillin, and they give you penicillin, they are liable. They're just telling you that because they don't want to they want their money from
Well, I
you.
talked to the QA guy, and then
No.
Go to court.
They won't go to court, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, I've had at least 100 people do that. They will not go to court on it. They can't get a collection agency after you either, because as soon as the collection agency contacts you, you write a letter and say the dispute. Once you tell the collection company that there is a legal dispute, doesn't have to get into court at all. You've just got a legal dispute, and this is what Clinton did when he was in office. You've got that legal dispute, they can never call you again. The only recourse that the doctor has is to sue you personally. He doesn't have the time, dime, nor inclination. I've had over 100 people discharge hundreds of millions of dollars.
yeah, but is it worth the effort for me to frustrate myself and get all crazy with?
Well, you don't
Writing a
have
letter
to
is
get
not
crazy. You write a letter. That's the end of it. You copy it when the collection agency contacts you. You send them the letter, the copy of the letter. It's that easy.
Is it worth $9,000?
It's one letter that you write, and you say your contention.
It's sure it's already paying.
Well, it's up to you.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a question?
Yeah. My daughter is 26. She has been tested for thyroid disease because she is constant tired, and she has around her neck almost looks like a tire around her neck. And there are times that it's not there, and every time it just kind of swells up. They test her blood work, it comes out good every time. There's half thyroid.
She just is a poor digester of food, so she needs to be on a good diet. She's one of those people who just can't handle the normal, average diet and be somewhat normal.
I was just wondering why would it sort of make her swell out?
Well, your lymph glands, your major lymph gland network are here, all the way back into the sides, the breast area, especially in women, and all the way down the crotch area. It goes all the way down the inner thighs. That's where your lymph glands are responsible for cleaning and detoxifying and neutralizing, sending the poisons out of the body. Hers are getting jammed up here. She must have had a lot of canned foods or eat chocolate or something that's causing toxicity in the brain, in the throat, in the face, and she gets a lot of dental work, injections, and she'll have that to deal with too, and these glands are responsible for that. If it were just the thyroid would be swelling. Either both the thyroid glands and the parathyroids, or you have two on either side of each thyroid, each side of the thyroid, that would swell. But when the whole neck swells, that's the lymphatic system. And it's jammed. She needs to take those hot baths.
Thing that might help her start releasing that?
Well, if she does a good diet and takes hot baths.
Yeah.
Do you have questions?
I wanted to ask you about lubrication formula. I'm on 2 meals a day for your instruction, and I'm cooking 4 eggs and some butter and honey and clean it 4 times a day with the lube. Is that okay to do?
You mean extra eggs with your lube formula?
Well, I do 4 and I put into 4 containers and I drink it 4 times a day.
That's excellent.
2 with each meal and 2 in between. Is that better than drinking milk? Everybody knows how I feel. I don't want to keep getting fatter. I'm 150 pounds almost.
But you feel great, right?
I'm 117 2 years ago. But I feel wonderful on milk, and I feel wonderful on lube. Lorraine, don't laugh at me.
We're all laughing at you. I'm especially laughing at you.
Your skin has more color.
I don't want to get fat off it. People that haven't seen me in years see me.
Hey, but you remember my name.
That's something I want to hear.
Yeah, but I'm fat and happy.
Fat and happy. Okay, I am fat and happy. But, so, do you think I should drink the milk in between, the lube? Because I got to drink something. And
Absolutely,
I don't drink water.
Yeah. You might want to do the, cucumber, stuff too.
Cucumber?
Yeah.
But I do drink the 2 juices, twice a day.
Yeah, but I mean, you could make the sport drink,
Is that going to make me run to the bathroom?
Not usually, but you don't make a big batch like that's for the hydration formula for my athletes.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that.
So, and it works very well. I mean, usually, like you saw McEnroe in the old tapes, he was downing like a whole gallon during 3 hours of afternoons of matches. I've got athletes that do just less than a quart at the same time. They're just sipping a little bit all the time in their camp.
I'm not forced to. And I want to keep healthy because I still have acid reflux.
That's the portrait?
Well, with the acid reflux, you need the cheese and cream.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, on the diet, I feel wonderful.
Right.
Sometimes.
But you would probably have less weight if you eat the cheese and cream more often for acid reflux.
Is that right?
Because acid reflux is when the heavy metals and toxins are dumping through the esophagus all the way down into the stomach. So if you eat cheese, it will absorb those poisons, and if you sip the cream, it will coat it. So you won't need as much fat in your body, because you will handle it as it's dumping.
So when shall I
Because that could reduce about 10 pounds of weight.
I'm not gaining.
No, but that could reduce 10 pounds from where you are now.
So do that with the meals or in between?
No, whenever in between, when you start feeling the acid reflux, that's when to do it.
So you say cheese and cream.
Yeah.
What about honey?
Don't have honey with that mixture. You don't. When you have honey and cheese together, you digest the cheese. When you have raw cheese without honey directly with it, the cheese just acts as a magnet in the sponge. It will not digest. Cooked cheese is just the opposite, because it's all fractionated already. Whether you have it with honey or not, it's going to digest. And all those cauterized minerals are going to be part of your body. But when it's raw cheese, unless there's honey directly in the cheese, like mixing it in your mouth together, it will not digest.
The sport drink is a cucumber puree. You've mentioned sport drink, that's the cucumber puree.
Well, I have cucumber juice and tomato juice and some other things in that recipe. What you do is just make the cucumber a puree instead of a juice.
And that's in the book, under sports.
Well, not the puree part,
Okay.
but you just make that change.
Okay.
Do you have a question?
Yes. Would you go over again the 2 meals a day, the 2 things? I can see there's something wrong. I'm getting gas.
Well, that would be normal. Gas is not a bad sign. In fact, if you've ever had surgery, especially intestinal abdominal, and the doctor will come in and say, "Are you passing gas?" And if you say yes, he's happy, because that means your digestive juices and your digestive bacteria is working. If you say no, it scares them, because that means your intestines aren't working. So it's normal.
About smelling gas?
Smelly gas is those heavy toxins mixing in. You want that stuff out first. But the way you can reduce those odors, cucumber and cream will help reduce those odors. Tomato and cream will reduce those odors. Tomatoes by themselves will. In fact, if you ever get squirted by a skunk, you know the only way you can get rid of that odor? Tomatoes. Rub tomatoes on it.
Nicholas got squirted by my dog.
Yeah.
And I called the veterinarian clinic emergency, and they said tomato juice.
Yeah.
So I saved him, and I walked off the tomato juice.
It worked, yeah.
It takes a few weeks.
Yeah. But you rub them a couple of times with tomato, and that would take it all off. But she just did it one time. And for you, you'd have to eat tomatoes every day, you know, because you're dumping those toxins in if you have gas. Another reason you could have gas is if you're eating nuts out of the nut formula. Don't do that.
What about hot
Also good nut form.
Pardon?
Well, as a nut form.
Nuts by themselves, seeds by themselves. If you make them, blend them until they become a flour, you add the egg, butter, and honey, you've got the nut formula. That does not produce gas 99% of the time.
What about heartburn eating nuts? Like I ate something yesterday,
Shouldn't be eating the nuts unless they're in a formula. Yeah, then you eat cheese to absorb those toxins. If you get nauseous at any time, those are poisons dumping into the stomach. The hydrochloric acid neutralizes those substances. Let's say when you get let's say you got an insect bite. If you drink milk or eat a milk product, a dairy product, the body will automatically send it to the stomach even quicker. Now, the hydrochloric acid will neutralize the poison, so you won't have a reaction. If a dairy product is there, it absorbs it. So there's no irritation as it goes through the intestinal tract, or you can vomit it. One or the
Yeah,
other.
I've done those too.
But anytime you get nauseous, those are poisons dumping into the stomach. Just eat a little sugar cube-sized amount of cheese for as long as the nausea exists. So every 20 minutes, you know, if the nausea continues, you eat some more, because that means you're still dumping. You're continuing to dump. Sometimes in some situations I've seen toxins dump into a stomach for a whole 36 hours before it stops. Most of the time it will be 45 minutes, 25 minutes, and then it stops.
So I'm doing that. I'm still getting nauseous almost all the time. And I'm sitting here, and so my stomach's feeling sick, feeling nauseous. But then I think about a cheese, but then I'm feeling acid, like I'm getting acid reflux from the cheese.
You won't get acid reflux.
No, I'm starting to have problems. I'm getting acid back out after I take this like cheese.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. I'm not even having the eggs.
Because it's drawing more poisons in. That's what some dairy does in some people. That's why you have to drink your cream to coat it.
It's real hard on my stomach.
But if you drink, you sip it, so it just coats. So not much gets into your stomach. You just want to coat your esophagus.
You made me take only like 2 or 4 ounces at a time, like a shot glass.
Well, for her, it would be like a tablespoon at a time, or 2 tablespoons. That would coat your esophagus. Well, in your stomach lining, you got pretty toxic stomach lining. So is your esophagus. It's going to take some time to relieve all that. And it doesn't dissolve itself. That's how resilient it is. So when people take in a toxic poison like a vaccine that contains mercury, aluminum, formaldehyde, ether, and detergent, minimum, it goes into the stomach lining, but it will dump into your food every time you eat. And if I say you have a lot in your stomach, and let me tell you, 99.9% of everybody does. So eat just a sugar cube size of cheese 10 minutes before you eat or drink anything.
It has to be the raw cheese, right?
It has to be raw. Use pasteurized cheese, you'll just reabsorb all those toxins.
Why is colon cancer? We're talking about the stomach, but colon cancer is the big topic around here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
so
pretty prevalent.
If it's happening up here, why is it happening down there too?
I don't get you got poisons down here which are damaging the intestines. But the stomach has the worst, gets the worst.
Well, our digestive tract is what, 27 feet long or something?
It's 12 times the length of our torso. And our torso is about 3 feet, depending upon the person. So you measure your torso 12 times that as long as yours is.
And so in your system, how do you delineate the top to the bottom? You're saying that the stomach is one of the most...
Well, it's the tissue, the type of cell. It can withstand hydrochloric acid because it makes hydrochloric acid.
But they have all these drugs that want to kill the hydrochloric acid.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't make any
Antacid. But that still doesn't affect the stomach directly. That just absorbs the acid so you don't digest your proteins and some of your other foods.
Okay. I'm still after, because of diverticulitis,
Not all the toxins go to the stomach. I say the worst.
Oh, okay.
So you've got all these other ones going to other parts of the intestines.
But everybody I know that gets a colonoscopy ends up with diverticuli in one of the diagnoses. So everybody's got holes in their colon.
That's not a hole. That's a sac. It's a cyst. Open cyst.
Does your diet get rid of it?
Yeah.
Cures it. Goes away. Heals over.
It will come back every now and then.
Yeah, it will come. Just like a hemorrhoid will come back every once in a while. If there's something toxic in that area, discarding into that particular part of the intestine will, a diverticuli is just like a sacculation within the folds of the intestines, and it's like a cyst. It acts like a cyst. It will hold toxic fluid until enough nutrients are in there and neutralizing it. Of course, if you're on a bad diet, you're always putting toxic food in it, so you're adding to that toxicity, and they can swell and burst and cause all kinds of problems, just like an appendix, or just like any kind of a cyst. So when you're on a good diet, the good food gets in there and the body utilizes it locally to neutralize the fluids, the toxins that are in that diverticuli, which is basically an open cyst. Yeah, it's true. She said, is it true that some people with diverticulitis, or a lot of people with diverticulitis, they'll tell you not to eat seeds because it will block it'll block the cyst. So none of that fluid can pass in or out, so it goes stale and rots in there. Decays. It's true. It happens only with very elderly people in their 70s. If you have diverticulitis, when you go on the diet, stay away from seeds. Even tomato seeds in some people. I only have one man that reacts to tomato seeds with his diverticulitis, but it does happen. No.
I guess he developed a colonoscopy.
A lot of times when I'm studying, because I was an idiot for names, I didn't bother with names. So I usually don't know the names of all the people I've studied their work. That means you don't have to remember my name either. Payback's a bitch.
Aajonus,
Yes.
there was a lot of questions about nausea. When I first started the diet, I remember I was really nauseous, and someone at one of the potlucks gave me a teaspoon of honey.
Yeah.
And it went right away.
Yeah.
Why would that work, and how's that different than using cream cheese?
Well, yours was a lack of digestive juices. Your nausea was the hydrochloric acid wasn't forming properly.
So the enzymes.
You didn't have high acidity. You had a nausea without the acidity. So it's a difference there. Hear me sucking? I never got to suck on the nipple. My mother dried up when I was born. She took one look at me and said, "What an ugly baby." I'm not feeding that thing. Yes.
Have a little bit of cheese before every meal.
10 minutes before everything you eat or drink. Yeah.
Juice also?
Juice, yeah, absolutely. You don't have to have it if you're just sucking eggs by themselves, unless you get nauseous. Yes.
It's about eating cheese. I like to eat
Eating meat or beef?
beef.
Beef, okay.
So I like to eat this rice or beef. Is that okay? So what's a good substitute? I like to
I know all Asians have that habit, so it's so inbred in your whole culture.
I just heard about a mushroom. It's called the magic noodle, and it mimics angel hair pasta. It's supposed to be incredibly delicious.
Doesn't make any difference. You have to process it.
No, you don't.
Oh,
it's actually just the plain.
Just grate it?
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
it's not
great.
even grated. I think it comes in like little strings or something like that. And
Well, that would
like
be fine.
Look online, magic.
Not a magic mushroom. Those are
Magic,
really.
yeah, right.
They feed the brain.
The old days. Magic pasta. Magic noodle. Thank you. .com.
If what she says is true, that you don't have to cook that mushroom and it comes stringy like that, and that tastes like pasta, hey,
Where do you get it?
that's great because mushrooms help protein digestion.
The other thing about the beef, if I buy, I should not get the guilty chain, and I buy milk, I feel like I want to eat beef, I go to the farm market, we have those New York steaks. I felt that what I did was right. I felt it was handled with hands, and I felt safe with the spirit. A little bit on each side, is that okay?
Well, just think about this. If somebody you handled had gloves on with ammonia on it, or chlorine, and you fried that into your meat, is that a good thing? Okay. I'd much rather have bacteria, but let me tell you, in those stores, they cannot handle meat with their hands anymore. They have to wear gloves. And they've got chlorine and Clorox and formaldehyde, and they have all these detergents that are antibacterial, and that's what's getting on your meat. I always scrape my meat. I scrape the top off. I take a flat knife, no serrated blade, and I'll just scrape. And it'll, I just get the top of it off. All that fluid and all that toxicity. Right. Now, I was into eating raw meat before anybody talked about all grazed beef or anything like that. So it was 1976 when I started eating raw meat. And when I went back to Los Angeles, no health food store carried meat. It was unheard of. If you were in a health food store, you were vegetarian. And that's about the way it was. If you were into health, you were a vegetarian. So here I was a freak eating all this meat. But I bought right out of Ralph's and Bond's and Piggly Wiggly and stuff like that, because that's the only thing I could get. So, and when I lived in Paris for 3 years, from 93 to 96, 3 months a year, I ate out of Carrefour supermarket. And on my last trip home, when my girlfriend broke up with me because I wouldn't marry her, she said, I was on the plane, I'm looking in the magazine, and they're talking about Carrefour supermarket had been supplied with the mad cow meat all those years that I was eating it there. And here it is, they say it takes 10 to 12 years, so it's been 96, so it's been already 13 years since I stopped eating it, and I have no problem. You're not eating the brain, you're not eating the nervous system, you're not eating the glands where most of those toxicities stay. You're just eating meat, the beef, the muscle meat. Yeah, so I mean, it's not going to be the healthiest meat to eat, but you're still going to get a lot of nutrients from it. Better than starving and cooked. Yeah.
The last thing is that
I can't do that. You already asked one question, so I got to move on.
Beef
do you have a question?
Beef questions.
And no question? Okay. Do you have a question?
I do. So I'm kind of new to this, and
yeah, I haven't seen you here before. What is your name?
I'm Nicole.
Nicole, hi Nicole.
Yeah, and I've had I've learned from people before, and it's always been big on the water thing, and I've been listening to everybody's things on replacements and everything. But I guess I'm kind of not really clear on, I'm totally open to not needing water and everything like that, but I'm kind of wanting a little clarity on, what exactly is I guess it dilutes stomach acid.
It dilutes everything. It's a solvent. It's the world's first and main solvent. You look at an archaeological book, agricultural book, you look under the first property, that is a solvent, and that's water. When it rains, it dissolves rock. Plants can eat. When we use water in our systems, it causes fractionation when you have a group of nutrients travel together, it's all by ionization. It's all by attraction. And there's, like you may have, let's say, 12 calcium molecules, and you'll have 2 sodium molecules, and maybe 5 magnesium molecules. And it's a whole assortment. You have 93 to 117 nutrients all bundled together in a smorgasbord. So when a cell opens to eat, and it's got 1 to 2 ions inside it, it attracts that. And it eats, and it gets a full banquet, a completely balanced meal. When you use water or salt, it fractionates everything. So when a cell eats, it's getting a little of something, and it's always getting deficiency.
What if the water is ionized or alkaline?
Same thing. Water is a solvent. It fractionates. It tears things apart. That's what it does.
So like the studies of the hundreds of people and water at Lourdes and so forth, they're saying the reason they live so long is because they find out that the indigenous to all these areas.
That's all their theory. It's got nothing to do with reality. Lourdes, the way it used to work before they purified and filtered the water, everybody shit and pissed in it. And that's what made people well. They never cleaned that water, and one filthy person got in after another, and all that bacteria went in there and corrected the problems quickly. Now that, and you never hear anything about going on any of the experiences of Lourdes anymore, because now they have the full water flowing through, and nobody's in any shit or piss. You know? So all the water's clean, so nobody's getting the miracle cures they used to. And the Hunzas, they don't drink much water.
Yeah, they do raw milk.
They drink, their diet is 82% dairy, period. They hardly drink any water. Just remember, when water came into being was in 1961. Before that, when we'd all go to school, we'd go to the fountain, we'd get 3 sips a day, 3 tablespoons of water a day. Other than that, we just drank milk. And then soda came in, and it was soda and milk. Then it was no milk and all soda. You know, now it's all chemical. It's just chemical water. It's even worse. So what happened? They started bottling water in 1961. They paid doctors to tell everybody they needed to drink 8 glasses of water a day to make their margins grow every year. More people would start drinking water. You contaminate the water, what do you drink? Bottled water. So it was all about. The whole plan and theory was set out. And that was the Rockefeller family, too, doing that.
And then the bottles have pollutants in them, which you then absorb.
Correct. If they're plastic.
Yeah.
So the water thing, you said in the book Gersteiner.
Gersteiner.
But now they have
They
it
have it in
plastic
plastic, so I don't look at it.
So what do we do now?
Well, you got Perrier, you got Romlusa, San Pellegrino, San Faustino, Apollinaris.
You won't go near
Gersteiner. Well, in other countries it's still in glass. In this country it's in plastic. But I don't drink water anymore, really. I've had, 3 tablespoons of water in 3 weeks. And medicinally, that's my medicine.
So what is it about, like, vegetables and everything like that? You know, obviously, water or food and everything like that, like when it's growing, like how does that process it change?
That's for the plants. They use water. Without breaking down the soil, the rock, they couldn't eat.
Okay, so what about it that, what they're getting, like say if I'm drinking a cucumber or tomato, like what about it, like their liquid?
Their liquid is all this smorgasbord of nutrients.
Okay, that's what I was...
Because you're not drinking water, you're drinking all of these nutrients coupled with the water.
Okay.
And you may only have maybe 10 molecules of water combined in all of those 93 to 117 nutrients.
How does that create an antioxidant? How does that plant create the antioxidant?
Well, it's part of it's just process. How does it do it? It just does it by synthesis, photosynthesis. The antioxidants are vitamin D, vitamin A, most of your oil and water-soluble fats. A lot of people don't understand fats can be water-soluble, and coconut cream is the highest in water-soluble fats. That's why it's so cleansing. Also why it's so hydrating to the skin. And that's my soap. Coconut cream. Do you have a question?
Yeah, well, if you had these theories, why was the flu so virulent this year? I mean, it was like 10 times stronger, it seems like.
It's going to get stronger every year. If you read my books, I talk about bacteria, parasites, and fungus. They are the normal janitors of the body. Everybody used to eat colds. Colds were mainly bacterial. When a tissue gets so toxic, it will destroy, it will kill any parasite, any bacteria that eats those toxic cells because they're poisoned with mercury, thallium, lead, and any of the other PCBs and all the other 60,000 toxins that we have now in the last 50 years, new toxins. So they kill the cells. The only way the body can clean itself after that is a virus. Viruses are not alive. So when you hear a live virus, it's an absolute misnomer. It's a stupid person talking because they have virus have no nucleus. They have no respiratory or digestive tract. They are a protein structure, just like a cleanser that cleanses the grease off of your driveway. Do you say Tide soap is contagious? Does most of the laundry rooms have it, or a laundry soap is contagious? Because every home has one? No. Your cells make viruses to clean themselves, a little bitty structure at a time. But the pharmaceutical house will say, oh, look, it's dissolving the cell. Yeah, it's dissolving a finite part of the cell only. It's not dissolving the whole structure. It doesn't damage the whole integrity of the cell, just a little part of it. It's like when you have bronchitis. Your bronchioles are cleaning. Certain tissue in your bronchioles are cleaning. And it's specific for that particular cleansing. The more chemicals we get, the more antibiotics we get, the more anti-fungus everything, the more chemicals in the fibers. You're using, synthetic clothing. You breathe in those synthetic fibers, and what are you getting? The plastic. You're getting the PCBs. You're getting the polymers that harden, that are also a plastic. You're getting all of that toxicity liquefied into your lungs and the rest of your system. You can't get a cold anymore. And each virus is going to get worse and worse and worse. And that's where we're heading. For me, it's the opposite. I used to keep, colds and flus, viral or bacterial, for 3 to 5 months. Now I get them for an hour, 2 hours, and that's it. I pray for long ones, but I don't get long ones anymore. I want to get well fast, Yes.
I missed my question before.
Yeah.
Eggs. If you buy eggs at the store, better to get, because typically you can't get fertile organic eggs, but it's better, otherwise you can get organic eggs. It's still better to buy fertile eggs.
You don't want organic eggs. Organic is a indication that they're using organic soybeans, and it's a misnomer. It's a lie. It's a fraud, because you cannot feed raw soybeans to chickens, any kind of bird. It will kill them just like it will kill a human. so they have to be chemically and heat treated, which means they're no longer organic. You know, I called several, chicken farmers, and I said, hey, you're feeding them soy, like 85% soy, 75 to 80% soy. And soy, you have to chemically treat. You can't call that organic. Well, the FDA they don't give a shit about you and your health. So it's better to get non-organic. If you know it's organic, if it says organic on there, you can better believe it's made with mostly soy.
Or vegetarian.
Soy.
Yeah, vegetarian.
You don't want just vegetarian either.
Vegetarian is mainly soy.
Yeah.
Well,
most of the time with the fertile eggs, it says from vegetarian.
Yeah.
So the ones we get from James is what?
Those are not fed any soy.
Okay, so with chicken too.
But their chicken is shit. They dip it in salt. I had the chicken yesterday, and I had high blood pressure, and it was nauseous almost all day.
Why did they do that? Like the chicken
antibacterial.
And if anybody's kosher in there, that's the way they do salting on everything now.
Yeah.
So with chicken in the store, if it says organic boneless chicken breast or just free-range chicken breast, always free-range.
Take the free-range.
That's it. Okay, so Whole Foods, you don't want to buy the organic one.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about omega 3 eggs?
Pardon?
Eggs, is it high omega 3?
They're feeding it a processed substance to get the omega 3, unless they're just saying that the soy that they are fed has omega 3 in it, and soy has omega 3 in it. But once they put that, it's a kerosene byproduct that they say is food grade. How the hell can you have kerosene that's food grade? Give me a break. It's crazy, insane.
Natural.
Yeah,
Shoot out of the ground.
Would you drink kerosene?
That's why you're here.
At the airport, we make alcohol out of fuel.
Got my dose of algae. Pardon?
My question?
Yes.
I wash my hair with eggs in my scalp and my hair. My hair's been really dry the last 3 months, and it looks so bad. I'm embarrassed. And then I put coconut oil, but when I'm at work,
Coconut cream.
Why is that happening? Is that detoxing?
Well, yeah, the egg is so able to pull out all the oils and dirt, it doesn't leave a conditioner on to a lot of people. So I use coconut cream now, and you see my hair's very
don't do eggs?
Oily.
Wash it with coconut
Well,
cream?
it depends. If you need to wash it really thoroughly, see, my scalp doesn't get so, toxic anymore. But before I used egg and then put coconut cream on to condition it.
So always wash with eggs, but if I need a conditioner,
Use coconut cream, not coconut oil.
Okay, so how do you do it? You put it in there and then wait 5 minutes and rinse it out?
The coconut cream?
Yeah.
No, what you do is just put it very thinly in your hands and brush it in your hair and then comb it through.
Oh, so once you get out of the shower.
Yeah.
So you rinsed all the egg out.
Absolutely.
Okay. I was using coconut oil.
It's all oil soluble, so it's going to make your hair get dirtier quicker, and it's not going to get the water soluble in to protect your scalp. You notice my hair is getting thicker and thicker since I started using coconut
So
cream.
eggs and only coconut cream when you need it, when you're detoxing too
Well, I
much.
use it all the time. I only use that now. I don't use
scalp
that anymore.
and all the way down your hair?
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Be shiny and nice. Yeah.
You were talking about beef. You can buy aged beef, which is hung for a couple of weeks. Good or no?
Well, on the outer layers, of course, you're not going to have any enzymes, active enzymes in it. So on the inner cuts, it'll be fine. You're going to have bacteria growing.
I don't understand.
When you hang the meat, okay, it dries on the outside. If you eat the outside, there's not going to be any enzymes in that outer layer for about a half an inch in.
How would I know that? Would it be a different color?
Oh, it'll be very dry looking. If you get a cut that's dry looking.
I got 30 pounds of cut coming, but I don't know. It's been hungry, so.
Yeah, that means all that surface is dry.
But I'm going to grind it anyway. I'm going to put it through my grinder.
Well, it's just you have to understand that probably about 5% of that meat is going to not have the enzymes in it. So you could add a little honey.
Okay.
And that'll add the enzymes back.
Now I want to store it, so I'm going to put it in my jars with a tight lid because I don't want it to go high.
Right.
Now is it going to go high faster once it's hung, the date?
No.
No. Okay.
Is there anybody had a that didn't give a question that wants to now? Joe.
What was the best antiseptic you used for dental? Like
Always lime juice is the only natural Thorough antiseptic. Pardon? Oh, no, you're talking about anesthetic? I thought you say antiseptic. And there's no anesthetic that's safe. All of them will harden your tissue. There's no anesthetic. You just have to do it without any anesthetic. You have to understand that their drilling is a very brief period of time, and if you have a dentist that has a water jet, that means it cooling the bit. The bit, when it gets hot, that's what causes all the pain. If it burns the nerve, that burn stays in that nerve. If that's a water jet on there, the pain's not going to last more than a few seconds, and that's it. Oh yes, I've had 7 crowns put on and not a drop of antiseptic. Plus, I had them pull a molar with no antiseptic. And the doctor says, I've never done this before. And I said, because it's shaped like this, the tool is shaped like this. And it has blades here and blades here. So what they do is they shove it down into the gum, and then they turn it quickly around so it just cuts all the skin that's connected to the tooth away, the gum away, and then they pull, because it's kind of cone shaped at the same time. So then they pull it out. And I said, I want you to do 3 motions, and you pause at each one, and each one will be probably 3-4 seconds maximum. You put it in, you turn it, and then you pull. Those are the 3 motions, so you give me a time to adjust to each pain. And he did it all in one motion. He didn't go, he just did like that. And he pulled it out. And I mean, the pain was over in 30 seconds.
Was that in Mexico?
Over in 30 seconds. If you have Novocaine or Xylocaine or any of those shot into your mouth, you're going to detoxify for 2 years.
How about gas? The gas they give you.
The gas, it's going to do some brain damage, but it's better than being injected.
Yeah. Can't afford that brain damage.
Just remember, we only use 10% of the brain, so you got 90% of it to destroy. I had it impacted, that's why he's removing it.
You
should have seen it.
Tell yourself you can.
Oh, it was all the way up. The nerve was impacted all the way up to here. The nerve, the whole thing was a mess. When he pulled it out, the blood shot out, but I stopped bleeding in 10 seconds. He thought I was going to be a bleeder because the blood just came out, and the whole nerve that was still attached to the tooth, because it broke way up here. So all this nerve was attached to the tooth. It was all white and swollen and full of pus.
Dr. Lawrence uses acupuncture, that little ear clip thing.
Yeah.
If you don't want.
Novocaine, yeah.
Or chewing
That helps.
raw marijuana.
Yeah.
That he won't let you do it.
Well, yeah, you can do it at home when you get there.
Right.
Raw
They can't
marijuana.
stop you.
I did. It was hard getting down to Mexico when it started coming on. But it did work.
Yeah, it worked.
And I did the
Definitely
pain
worked.
formula.
Yep. Also, magic mushrooms are great. You just take, about a BB-sized amount and just let it dissolve in your mouth. And let me tell you, it takes away 60% of the pain.
Where do you get magic mushrooms?
I don't know. I've been looking.
Wild mushrooms.
I haven't been able to find them in a long time.
Yeah. Cowpatchers in Oregon.
Yeah.
Cowpatchers in Oregon.
I don't know. It's like with all these chemtrails and everything, they're poisoning all the fields, so the mushrooms aren't growing like they used to, the magic ones. Okay, anybody else who didn't give a question and wants to now? Nobody? What time is it?
4:30.
4:30. We have a half an hour, so we'll just go around. Anybody with a question?
Osteoporosis issues. Because I had a lot of them. The majority of the osteoporosis for me, somebody's going quick, by the way.
The big one.
The big black
Big
recorder?
black one?
Anybody?
Anybody? Okay. The osteoporosis issues. You want me to wait for you to quick?
Oh, that'd be nice.
Well, we won't really have time.
Okay,
It's
there.
okay.
Most of the time, wherever they gave me steroid, I had the greatest severity of osteoporosis. You'd put me on milk for a very long period of time. I mean, a lot of milk. I think I drank like 3 gallons of milk a week. Sometimes up to 5 gallons a week. And for a Crohn's
And I
patient,
drink 7 to 8 gallons a week
all I
in
know
the
is
summer.
the Crohn's patients is kind of tough, but because I had a hard time digesting it. And I just cut back after the fire just because I was detoxing so heavily I couldn't handle it for a while.
But you can use cheese and honey together as a good mineral supplement and will help reverse osteoporosis. I've been using that for the past 3 years and it's working well enough that I can say that, you can start using that
Cheese and
to
what?
reverse
Cheese and what?
osteoporosis. Cheese and honey.
Before you chew at the same time?
Yeah, they have to be chewed together at the same time. You can mash it in a cheesecake. Cheesecake's the same thing. The honey's already mixed in the cheese. But you use just a small amount of honey to the cheese. If you're using a tablespoon of cheese, use a quarter of a teaspoon of honey only. Very small amount of honey.
If you have honey in the green juice to preserve it, and you eat cheese to help.
The honey's already involved in the fats in the juice. It has to be the cheese and the honey together. Immediately. The honey can have already been exposed to some other food.
How many times a day?
I usually do it, and I advise people do with osteoporosis 30 minutes after the meat meal. Somebody your size, 2-3 tablespoons with a teaspoon of honey, or 3/4 of a teaspoon of honey. Well, you can put a little honey on the piece of cheese and eat it that way, or put the cheese in your mouth and then put the honey in your mouth. Do it off your finger if you want, if you're feral like I am. You too? Pardon? I would say, it's by body weight. For every 100-pound weight, it's 1 tablespoon of cheese to 1/4 teaspoon of honey.
Say that again?
For every 100-pound body weight,
Okay.
1 tablespoon of cheese to 1/4 teaspoon of honey. And that's been all reversing osteoporosis quicker than even milk did.
That's per day. Eat it?
Yeah, do it every day.
For me, you had actually taken me off the cheese and honey. I can't remember why.
Yeah.
And you put me on the milk, and I was having other challenges.
Well, I didn't want you to digest the cheese at all. I wanted you to use the cheese to bind with all the poisons that were making you so sick.
Oh, yeah. Talk about nauseous. I was having at least one good nauseous diarrhea vomiting a week, and I was really puking my guts out. So I was looking at Vicki because she wanted information.
My question, stainless steel. Is it safe to drink out of versus plastic?
Well, it's not going to put any metals in you, but it's certainly going to disturb the electromagnetic field because that'll attract radio waves, radiation waves, everything.
So by drinking it, I'm
So
harming?
get some milk, get glass.
Well, it breaks. They won't let you just But so this is dangerous to be drinking food out of?
Well, it's going to disturb the electromagnetic field.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to disturb some ionic bond
In the food?
in the food, yes.
Oh,
So it won't be optimal, but it's not going to kill you. It's just going to reduce your food value.
Don't they have the glass container on the inside? Like
Plastic is worse, of course.
They used to come with the old ones did with a glass container on the inside.
Those were fine,
Yeah.
but that doesn't have one.
Those were in our lunch boxes in the city.
Yeah,
You know?
kids.
Okay, so I gotta
I asked you about the kids, because they have the shakes at lunch, and you said plastic was better because the thing is still if it ever got warm.
Well, that was for the kids, but that's again,
Because I'm using a real hard plastic thermostat.
you're using the Lexan.
Yeah, the Nalgene.
I don't know, it's whatever.
Yeah, the Nalgene, that's fine. It's not going to gas unless you subject it to direct heat
Funny, left that in plastic.
or freezing.
Or sunlight.
Pardon? Correct.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Then it's a polycarbonate, hard plastic, and they say that is one of the worst.
Only if you subject it to heat or freezing cold. If you freeze anything in it, it's going to cause a discharge. It's going to outgas. If you heat it, it's going to outgas.
Isn't that with all the plastic cells, or that particular one?
That's the only one. The other ones will outgas it all the time.
What about the stuff that Newman sends to plastic, like plastic?
I don't buy his stuff in plastic. I get his stuff in glass. I pay the extra money.
So this is Nalgene too. This plastic's okay.
Yeah, that's okay as long as you don't put it directly in the sun and you don't put it in an oven and you don't put it in a microwave and you don't put it in the freezer.
Okay.
So that's polycarbonate.
Hot water. Hot water.
Yes, you don't put hot water in any kind of a plastic.
All our medical devices are done in polycarbonate. We're not hardly using any styrene.
Yes.
I mean, because they all do gas.
Yep.
Yeah.
The polycarbonate is
Stainless.
used less than.
Most stainlesses, I don't know. You get 316L on this place. It's so inert. But you're saying electromagnetic.
It's electromagnetic fields. It attracts radiation, radio waves, all kinds of things.
That's true. I can see where that sets up an LC coil.
Yep.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
You're going
Go
to
to
need
REI or something.
real world. If we have to go out and eat cooked food, what would you recommend? Salad, meat, chicken, fish? If we have to be in the real world.
You sell things, right? And you're at lunch.
Well, I'd stay away from any cooked vegetables. Those are the worst things you could eat.
Okay, no.
Well, that's the second worst thing you eat. Worst thing you could eat is French fries and chips. French fries and chips. Those are the worst things you can eat. Cereals are the next worst thing you can eat. Donuts are equal to the cereals. Stay away from all those. If you're going to have something cooked, rice and take your butter with you. You could have, let's say, broiled chicken or broiled fish, lightly broiled, or lightly sauteed in water, not oil or fat.
How about salad?
Salads? Yeah, they're putting so much MSG on salads now. That's a pretty dangerous thing to eat.
And rice, is it white or brown or no difference?
You don't want a polished rice. You want a nice, healthy rice.
Brown
And
rice.
it doesn't have a hull on it, but it's not, like Uncle Ben's.
I mean, white rice is like eating white bread.
Yeah, it's fine. No, it isn't. Because bread, you're putting yeast, you're putting water, you're putting salt, you're putting other things in it. Rice is just, it may have a little salt in it. They're cooking it in salt. But
I'm allergic to salt, but I just like to know white or brown. I've always cooked brown before I went on your diet. I was a vegetarian.
that's up to you.
Well, it doesn't make
As
any
long as
difference.
it's whole, as long as it's a whole grain, it's fine.
The whole grain, brown
Yeah.
rice, okay.
When's the last time you ate cooked food? Do you ever just don't
When I'm
have
in
something?
Asia, I get so hungry because of the hydrochloric
Well, I do
acid in
too.
my small intestine. I don't have all the cream that I like. I'll eat a third of a cup of rice once a week with a third of a cup of butter.
When you say eat the rice with butter,
Yeah, and I don't eat it with anything else. That's that meal. And I won't eat anything for 3 hours before and 3 hours after. And that absorbs for a good week. That'll keep collecting some of the excess hydrochloric acid that makes me so hungry. So I don't.
white butter.
Well, you can read the book about that. Yeah, I talk about butter a lot in the book. The importance of butter.
So these sprouted corn tortillas, when I'm out of food or I'm so starving I'm getting a headache, I'll get broiled chicken and I get these sprouted corn tortillas and I just put them over, warm them a little and roll the chicken in it, put butter at the bottom of it and eat like a butter chicken sandwich.
It would be better if you don't use sprouted ones. The sprouted ones have turned into vegetation, vegetable oils. Vegetable oils crystallize in the human body. Just
Not
the
the
regular
flour
whole grain, not sprouted grain. That's right. That's that's a vegetable oil.
I thought it was producing. Just regular flour?
Are you eating it or juicing it, or what are you doing with it? If you're making bread out of it, and cooking it, that's not a good thing.
It's just flour tortillas.
Whole grain flour tortilla.
Whole grain. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
of
corn,
course.
whole grain. That's in Mexico. That's all you find.
Corn.
Yeah.
You said flour.
Well, flour is corn. You can have corn
Yeah.
flour.
Okay, corn.
Just whole grain, no sprouted. Wow.
Yep. Well, do the best you can.
What else on the cook? Besides fish and rice.
Nothing.
Don't do it.
Sushi party.
You have avocado, you have tomato, you have onion, you have cucumber, you have zucchini.
I can't eat any of it.
You will later on. I couldn't eat avocado when I began 5 years ago, but now I can.
So like a vinegar salad with that, just the apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, if you take your own
Yeah.
vinegar with you.
Oh, yeah.
So in your book, do you talk about this anywhere? Could this be a supplement that you put out for us?
It's in the detox. It'll be in the detox book
When's it coming out?
in several hundred years.
Oh.
I think we're producing it every time we have a talk.
Well, I was going to spend 5 hours a day I'd committed while I was traveling, and my 500 gigabyte hard drive crashed when it went through the TSA machine. Killed all that, so I didn't get a chance to edit
I
it.
remember I couldn't get a hold of you too well.
Right.
Why don't you carry external drives with you?
Oh.
I do. I have 4. I take 4 with me. But the that's 38 hours, 39 and a half hours of we shot him with 5 cameras, 5.5 hours. So it was an enormous amount. So I'd say I had a 500 gigabyte hard drive.
Which that's easy. I mean, those are...
Well, it's this big. My 500 gigabyte is this big, and then I have 200 ones of the little small pocket ones, and then I have the hard drive in the computer, which is 160 gigabytes. So I've got a lot of space, but with that DVD stuff, it was so big it could only fit on the 500 gigabytes. So I didn't have it backed up on any of the small ones. So what happened was it went through the scanner, the TSA scanner, and they say, oh, it doesn't harm computers. They ran it through twice because they didn't know what it was. And that killed it.
I've never heard of that. That's good to know.
Yep. Well, I bought a computer once, a laptop, and right in the manual it said, airport security scanning devices will damage this computer. I took it right to the head of the TSA there in the LAX airport, international, when I was taking off. He said, that's not true. I said, you're saying these people are protecting themselves. This is a big company, one of the major companies, top of the line, better than IBM and LM. Are you going to tell me they're not telling the truth? They're not protecting their butts? Oh, it's not what we're told. That's not true. They're just idiots. They're sheep. So anyway, it went. All of the information on that hard drive was gone. The hard drive was okay, but all the information was. And then I paid $100 and some for a program to capture it and save it. Captured and saved everything, but he couldn't even use it. I don't know. And the company said, I don't know why you can't use it either. So that was that. I spent 40 hours trying to recover that information, and a couple of $100. Couldn't save it. Couldn't recover it. Oh yeah, I have it on a 2 terabyte at home.
Can I interject here while we have pause? We have the co-op this Thursday, and normally I would need everybody to get their orders in last Tuesday, but if you want, I can get an order in if you find a piece of paper, write down, make sure you put your email and telephone number on it, leave it at the table, because I'm going to have to leave some, leaving another event, just leave it on that dining room table in there with your name, telephone number, email, stuff. I think I will do this Thursday, 5.
Okay, I think it's 5, isn't it?
I had a question I was trying to ask a little while here, but so I started introducing raw foods in like January, like right at the beginning of the year, and in the first like week, I like respiratory thing came up in like for 3 weeks, and I was trying to eat raw through it, but
What kind of raw diet?
yeah, I'm
Fruitarian, vegetarian,
oh,
or what?
God, no. Like the raw honeys, raw milk, things like that, raw eggs. And so the one thing though that I started craving, which you said like about the worst cooked food, is French fries, chips, and stuff like that. And like I haven't ate anything like that in years. Like I haven't ate fast food, anything like that. And like I was craving that so intensely. Like that's what I was going for, and it was really strange for me. And I'm really kind of curious. Like, do you have any idea like why I would be craving?
Because those cells are going to die when you're eating those new foods.
They know it.
They know they're going to die if they don't get that old food. Because it'll completely disorient them. They won't be able to survive.
What cells are you?
The old dead cells. The old cells that were made out of that stuff in your body.
Okay. So I'm a little confused on that, I guess.
It takes 40 years to clean every cell out of your body 5 times. Okay, to get the body to optimum. Okay, so it takes 7 years to reproduce every cell in your body. For them to stop giving off their toxins to their offspring, it takes 5 generations.
Okay, so they were like, the reason I was craving it is because they pretty much want to stay alive like anything else.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. And those cells grew up on it and lived on it, and that's what they were created from. And they get in different chemistry, and they're not going to survive.
Okay.
We'll let them die.
And that's true maybe after a year, why then you don't crave it as much.
Well, it depends. It took me 4 years, but I was on a balanced diet when I went on to a raw diet. It took me 4 years to stop craving.
If anyone wants to buy the book, premium,
Yes.
anybody want to get one of the books, the books, you want to live?
There was one fellow over here. Where'd he go? Oh, it's you. Yes. Okay.
Some of them, right? Okay. So, 2 of the recipes and 1 of the...
We want to live. Okay. All right. Okay, folks. That does it.
See you in a few months.
Okay.
Yeah, love you. Nice to see you again.
Nice to meet you.
Anything else now that I've gone through one shot?
Well, you just get to go through 40 more years, or 35 more years.
Oh, just fine.
35 more years, that's it.
Hey, that's 5 years closer than that was 5 years ago.
That's exactly it. You know, still got, was it 12 years to go, and look at me. I'm already excited. Hey, Daddy. And I start my 62nd year in a month.
Hey, your birthday's in April. Oh,
April 17th. Yep.
Are you going to do mini stuff?
Yes. Well, I'm going to sell some books.